Now for this quick reminder, we will be taking your calls for the next hour. The number to call is there on your screen. It's 1-877-Newsmax. Again, that's 1-877-639-7629. Be sure to call in with a short question or comment, and we'll put you live on the air. Now, for more on the possible Trump-Pence ticket, we are pleased to be joined via Skype by the chairman of the conservative HQ.com. Joining us now is Richard Viguerie. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Newsmax Prime. It's a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure, Miranda.
So Donald Trump tweeted out that he will postpone his VP announcement. It was initially set up for Friday, as you know, at 11 o'clock. He said this in light of the horrible attack in Nice, France. I have postponed tomorrow's news conference concerning my vice presidential announcement. First off, I want to get your reaction, Richard, to what's happened here in Nice, France. Again, we're saying that as many as 73 people died in this attack. Your reaction, and do you think that this was the right move for Trump to make?
You know, what the tragedy that happened in Nice today, Miranda, is what happens when Islam becomes a majority in a country. Radical Islam has declared war on the West, and they're serious about it. And if we don't recognize that here, we're going to lose. And yes, Trump made the right decision to postpone. We need to focus on Nice and making sure that that doesn't happen here in America. And national security is going to be a huge issue. I suspect there are going to be two issues in this campaign. One is the American economy and the lack of jobs and how the Democrats have hurt our economy, and national security. And national security literally moves the dial towards the Republicans in a major way with women. So I think it's a tragedy, but the American people are going to be very focused on national security like they haven't in elections in a long time.
Now, we want to go now and talk a little bit more about politics. Back in 2015, Governor Pence was in the national spotlight for a religious liberties bill that, quote, prohibits state or local governments from substantially burdening a person's ability to exercise his or her religion. Now, take a listen to what he said then.
Not about discrimination. And if I thought it was about discrimination, I would have vetoed it.
Okay, now the first part of that, obviously we had a little difficulty hearing that because of some audio issues, but basically he was talking about freedom for people to be able to practice their religion. Now, Pence received a lot of criticism from the left for supporting that bill, but you took issue with him for kind of backing away from it. In an article with the Dallas Star, you're cited as saying Pence lacked courage in this case. What do you mean by that?
Well, it appears to most conservatives that Pence initially did the right thing, signed the legislation, and then under enormous pressure from the homosexual lobby, from the big business community, caved, and he lost his courage, quite frankly. And to this day, most conservatives are lukewarm at best about Mike Pence. So if Donald Trump does select Pence, he's not closed the deal with conservatives. We still have a lot of issues and concerns with Donald Trump as the nominee and with Mike Pence. Mike Pence, when he was in the House of Representatives, was a rock star. He had enormous courage. He would regularly challenge the leadership of the Republican Party when they were expanding the size of government. But when he became governor, I'm not sure what happened, but something happened. He didn't have the courage as governor that he experienced and evidenced as when he was in the House leadership. So conservatives have a lot of concerns about Mike Pence. I think Mike Pence needs to explain to conservatives why he did what he did, abandoned the conservatives to go with the homosexual lobby on religious liberty, on Common Core, and on any number of other issues. He's abandoned conservative positions.
So what would he have to do to change your mind?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's up to him. It's up to Donald Trump to bring conservatives on board. Conservatives have, they're not an interest group. conservatives, quite frankly, Miranda, we are the Republican Party. We're the base of the party. And conservatives, in large numbers, in millions, have stayed home in recent presidential elections. And so number one issue, I think, above everything else, is personnel. Personnel is policy. It's an article of faith among conservatives. So we'd like to hear from Donald Trump and from Mike Pence what they're going to do to make sure that they govern with right people as principled constitutional conservatives. So we're going to be waiting to see who else do they bring on to their team if they were fortunate enough to be elected. And Donald Trump dodged a politically fatal mistake, perhaps. He didn't choose some of the people that would have really split the blanket, so to speak, with conservatives. And that he didn't choose John Kasich or General Flynn or Paul Ryan or John Kasich, which would have really made it difficult for conservatives to support the ticket. So we're pleased about that. But I think he needs to reach out to conservatives now and explain to us how he's going in a way that conservatives.
Right, and we'll have to see if that happens in the coming days. Richard Viguerie, thank you so much for joining us here on Newsmax Prime. It was a pleasure to have you.